So here we are talking about exponential equations again. We're going to take what we did in our previous lesson and we are going to expand on it. So let's get solving. Our goals are to be able to solve an exponential equation. We also want to be able to use some appropriate math vocabulary. We're talking about words like base, exponent. We want to know what those mean and what it means to evaluate, what it means to solve, etc. So we want to make sure that we are really focusing on our math vocabulary and using that when we are solving these equations. The first thing we need to do when we're solving is rewrite so that the bases are the same. If you think back to that exponent chart, which hopefully you have easily accessible to you, we want to think about what has a base of 3. We know that 3 is our base here, so we want to rewrite 81 as a base of 3 as well. Well, thinking back to that exponent chart, I know that 81 is 3 to the 4th power. Once I have the bases the same, I can cancel them out and I can solve the equation that's left. So I'm left with 2n plus 1 equals 4. I'm going to subtract 1 and I'm going to divide by 2. And n equals 3 halves. Now, it is always a good idea to go back and to check your solution just to make sure that it works. So if I put 3 halves in for n and see if I get 81 as my final answer. So 2 times 3 halves is 3. 3 plus 1 is 4. And I do know that 3 to the 4th is 81 because I looked at my exponent values chart. So I know that I have solved this correctly. Let's try another one. Our base here is 4. Now remember we talked about fractions can be written using negative exponents. So I know I'm going to need a negative exponent to get the 1 over 256. I'm going to go to my chart and I'm going to find the 4s and I'm going to look through the 4 column and I'm going to see that 4 to the 4th power is 256. So 4 to the negative 4th power is 1 over 256. Okay, so remember that anytime you have that fraction, just make your exponent negative and you've got it. Then, of course, once the bases are the same, they cancel, and I can solve what is left. Oops, 3x minus 1, sorry, is negative 4. I'm going to add 1, and then I'm going to divide by 3, and I get x equals negative 1. As always, I really want to just check this to be sure that my answer is correct. It can be easy to make a little mistake here. So 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. Negative 3 minus 1 is negative 4. And I do know that 4 to the negative 4th is 1 over 256. So I am good. Now, what if I cannot make the bases the same? 8 is not a power of 4, and 4 is not a power of 8. However, if I go to that exponent values chart and I look in the 2 column, I see that both 4 and 8 are powers of 2. So rewriting so the bases are the same doesn't necessarily mean one or the other. I can rewrite them both as a power of something else. So I'm going to rewrite 4 as a power of 2. 4 is 2 squared. And I'm going to rewrite 8 as a power of 2, which is 2 cubed. Now, before I can cancel my bases, I need to get rid of these parentheses. Anytime we have a power to a power, we multiply that. So on the left-hand side, I have 2 to the 4x. On the right-hand side, I have 2 to the 3x minus 3. Remember that I'm distributing because I'm multiplying 3 times x minus 1. Now that I've gotten rid of the parentheses and my bases are the same, I can cancel them out and I can solve what is left. I'm going to start by subtracting 3x, and I end up with x equals negative 3. Now, again, I always want to check that just to be sure, especially since my bases were not the same or easily changed since I had to change both of them. I want to make sure that I didn't mess anything up. So I'm going to take 4 to the negative 6 and 8 to the negative 4, and I'm just going to punch those in my calculator, and I'm going to see if I get the same number. So when I put in 4 to the negative 6 power, I get 0.000244, etc. When I put 8 to the negative 4 power, I get 0.00244, etc. So I know that these are the same and that x equals negative 3 is a valid answer. Don't forget to check your answer, guys. It just is a way to make sure that you're doing things right and that you didn't accidentally drop a negative somewhere or do something kind of silly. So I know that 5 can be a base for 625. I went to my values chart, I looked for 5, and I see that 5 to the fourth is 625. So 5 to the negative fourth is 1 over 625. My bases are the same, so they cancel. And I'm going to solve the exponents that are left. I'm going to start by subtracting 3 from both sides. And then I'm going to divide by negative 2. And a negative divided by a negative, remember, is a positive. So I get x equals 7 halves. Now I want to plug that back in just to make sure that I get the right answer. So I'm going to take, let's see, negative 2 times 7 halves is negative 7, and 3 minus 7 is negative 4. And I know that 5 to the negative 4 is 1 over 625. So I am good. This checks, and I feel pretty good that I know what I'm doing here. So hopefully you are feeling like you can solve an exponential equation. Hopefully you're feeling like you are confident using that exponent values chart and that you can be the very, very best that you can be. As always, this has been brought to you by Con and Alonzo. We love providing your math lessons for you, and we are here to help you with whatever you might need. Good luck with solving exponential equations.